Today we re-diving into a mind-bending sci-fi mystery where a totally normal guy wakes up one morning to a world frozen solid. Everyone, everything is stuck in time except for him. But as he tries to figure out what happened, he realizes this strange gift is actually a trap, and something else is moving in the frozen world with him. Let's get into the recap. The story follows Ethan, a 29-year-old office worker living the most painfully ordinary life imaginable. His routine is a cycle of sleeping, working, and commuting. Nothing special ever happens. But one morning, Ethan wakes up to complete and total silence. No cars honking, no birds chirping, just a strange, empty stillness that feels wrong. He checks his phone, but the time is frozen at 7:14 a.m. It won't change. He steps outside and his reality shatters. People are frozen mid-step on the sidewalk. Cars are paused in the middle of the street, and a cyclist hangs suspended in midair. The entire world is like a collection of statues. Ethan starts to panic. He screams for help, but his voice is swallowed by the silence. He reaches out and touches a frozen woman's shoulder. She doesn't even blink. It's as if a giant cosmic pause button was hit on the entire planet, but somehow he was missed. He's the only thing moving in a world that is stopped dead. At first, Ethan does what any of us would do in this impossible situation. He starts to test the rules of his new reality. He gives a frozen man a gentle push, but the man doesn't budge an inch, solid as a rock. He tries to pour a glass of water, and the liquid hangs in the air like a strange glass sculpture. He throws a ball, and it freezes mid-flight, defying gravity. Time isn't just paused. It's completely locked down, like a broken photograph. But Ethan himself can move freely. He can breathe, he can walk, and he can even eat the food from the motionless kitchens around the city. He starts walking for miles through the silent streets, seeing thousands of people, each one frozen in a moment of their life. But just as he starts getting used to the loneliness, he sees something that sends a chill down his spine. A footprint in the dust on the ground, a fresh footprint. And it's definitely not his. Someone or something else is moving too. Ethan cautiously follows the footprints, his heart pounding. They lead him into a huge, sprawling shopping mall. Inside, the scene is just as eerie. Shoppers are frozen while paying at registers, and kids are stuck mid-run in the play area. The silence is deafening until he hears a sound that isn't frozen, a sound that isn't silent. Footsteps. He peeks around a corner and sees her, a woman about his age, walking completely normally. Her name is Lena, and she's just as shocked to see him as he is to see her. She tells him the exact same thing happened to her. She just woke up and the world was stuck. But before they can properly introduce themselves, the lights in the mall start to flicker erratically. A cold, unnatural wind blows through the frozen space. Lena's face turns pale with terror. She grabs Ethan's arm and whispers, "We need to hide. Now, it's coming." Ethan is completely lost, but Lena's fear is real. She drags him into a dark storage room and quickly explains what's happening. The world isn't frozen by some random accident. They've stumbled into a state of being she calls this still, a place between seconds. Only certain people can move within it. But they are not alone. There's something else here with them, a creature she calls a time hunter. It's a being that lives inside these frozen moments, and it hunts anyone who moves while the rest of the world is paused. The flickering lights, she explains, are a sign that it's getting close. Just then, The room goes pitch black. A long, echoing growl fills the air from just outside the door. Something huge and unseen moves past, its shadow twisting in unnatural ways, as if time itself is bending around it. Ethan and Lena hold their breath, staying perfectly silent. The creature sniffs at the door for a terrifying moment, and then slowly it moves away. Once the danger has passed, Lena tells Ethan the real, terrifying truth. People don't just accidentally wake up inside the still. They're chosen. Ethan always thought he was just a normal guy, but Lena reveals something shocking. Every frozen clock around them is stuck at 7:14 a.m. She asks him what that time means to him. And then it hits him. It's the exact time his heart stopped beating during the night. He had a medical emergency and died, if only for a few seconds. In that brief moment of death, he crossed over into the still. Lena then reveals that she died once, too. Everyone who can move inside this frozen world is someone who's technically died and come back. But there's a huge catch. If Ethan stays in the still for too long, his physical body, back in the real world, will die permanently. He has to get back to his original timeline. The only way to do that is to find something called the still core, a point where time is at its weakest. The only problem? The time hunter guards it. Knowing their time is running out, Ethan and Lena sneak through the frozen city, heading toward its center. They finally reach their destination, a giant ancient clock tower. Here, time itself seems to be unstable, rippling like water, and waiting for them at the base of the tower is the hunter. It steps out of the shadows, a monstrous, shifting shape made of fractured seconds, glitches, and the fragmented faces of people trapped in time. Ethan freezes in fear, wanting to run, but Lena shouts, "You have to go back. If you don't, you'll be trapped here forever." The hunter lunges and Lena bravely throws herself in its path to distract it. Ethan uses the chance to scramble up the tower. He reaches the top and grabs the still core, a glowing, floating sphere of pure light. The second he touches it, time begins to collapse around him. The frozen world shatters, and everything starts to move again in a blur. The very last thing he sees is Lena smiling sadly at him as the time hunter drags her back into the dissolving still. Ethan gasps, waking up in a bright hospital bed. Doctors are all around him, telling him his heart just restarted. He's alive. Time is normal again. But as he looks down at his wrist, he sees a faint fingerprint-shaped bruise, the exact spot where Lena grabbed him, her last touch before he returned to his timeline. And then, in the corner of the hospital room, for just a single terrifying millisecond, the wall clock freezes at 7:14 a.m. again. Ethan realizes with a jolt of fear that it's not over. The still is watching him. Thanks for watching.